Hello guys, I am sure all of us remember how before the start of the Russian war in Ukraine, Russia claimed it has the second strongest army in the world. And many smart people believed and actually expected Ukraine to collapse really quickly, but in reality it was Putin's blitzkrieg that collapsed. Then a lot of their plans failed. During these 3 years of the full-scale war, they did not manage to capture any new Ukrainian regional centers. And now the Ukrainian army entered the territory of the Russian Federation. So we can say that actually Russian army is the second strongest army in Russia. Very similar techniques they use when talking about the Russian economy and faking its strength and stability. Unfortunately, there are some people who still buy this totally artificial image of the Russian economy, but more and more of us and of them come to realize Russia is a paper tiger. And I am happy that global media is talking about this right now clear and loud. For example, CNN had a very interesting report about the collapsing Russian economy and its influence on the future of the war and the Kremlin, and I think we will discuss it today. My name is Anna. I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia and also protect yourself against the hybrid warfare, subscribe. We discuss all of that on the channel. And with each day, we discuss more and more of the Russian failures, destroyed military objects, and their collapsing economy. And what makes me satisfied is that it's not my subjective, emotional Ukrainian vision, but real analysis of world-renowned experts in totally different papers like Reuters, like CNN, and many, many more. So today we will focus on the report that I've recently come across in CNN that speaks about serious troubles inside the Russian economy that the Kremlin tried to hide, but the bigger symptoms become, the more difficult it is to hide them. Once again, coming back to this very important comparison between the fake image of Russia and the reality, I will remind you about this constantly repeated lies of the second strongest army in the world. Why did we believe it? Well, because first of all, Russia has very strong censorship, something you cannot imagine in your countries, and only the needed information appears in their television, in their social media. Second, Russia does not participate in any real, trainings. It's not a part of NATO. It's not an ally of other countries that it does not want to suppress or return back to the Soviet Union. So in reality, military experts from, let's say, Australia cannot see what is happening in the real Russian army. And this image is built on Soviet myths and fake images, on the numbers that you can find in official Russian reports, and official Russian reports are traditional BS. So this image of the second strongest army in the world actually made many people around the world, starting from the leaders of our countries that are now our allies, shouting to Ukraine before the invasion, you better give up before they start because you will collapse. And right now, Russia is on the edge of the collapse, and personally, I believe the process is irreversible. The same fake image they built about the Russian economy, pretending everything is fine when in reality inflation is growing, prices are growing, ruble is falling, but most importantly, it may be that they've spent many billions more of dollars, of course, not rubles, on this war that they officially report or even semi-officially, because there are facts illustrating Putin and his gang organized a special shadow budget to finance Russian war. Subscribe to see the collapse of Putin, the collapse of the Russian Federation, and a new beginning for this part of the world. Most likely, Putin took a lot of money out of banks, out of big companies to finance this war, but perhaps they hoped blitzkrieg, everything happens really quickly. They capture Ukrainian territory, they get Ukrainian resources, but no. And right now they've lost too much money to pretend that everything is okay. And when the bank system will collapse, the Kremlin will collapse. Most importantly, we already see there are a lot of conversations about the potential freezing of deposits of ordinary Russians. Literally, the Kremlin will put its hand into their pockets and they will not protest, because that's the Russian rule. They keep naming themselves small people, and that is what they are. There are reports, official reports, about the shortage in labor power. Do you know what's the reason for that? Yes, lots of people mobilized and lots of people lost. The losses that Russia hides are unbelievable. And, we keep counting, but they keep hiding. You can hide some numbers, but when they actually reach 1 million people, which is insane, it is impossible to hide. I don't know how they managed to silence the relatives of these people. Maybe they take them from such far away depressive regions, or I cannot understand that. But it is already visible in this labor market, when there are not enough people to do the jobs, and taking into account they need more and more of missiles, tank and armored vehicles, maintenance. They simply lack people. And obviously, these North Korean soldiers, perfect, unfortunately, cannon fodder, is a result and a reason for this demonstration of the serious problems. They don't have enough people to fight. They don't have enough people to work. First, North Koreans were actually helping with the maintenance of the North Korean weapons that are now used in Russia, also because of the shortage. And right now they have thousands of soldiers. And finally, sanctions. They are working. We have always known they have this cumulative effect. So sanctions are working and sanctions are growing, which is more important. Personally, I'm a little bit angry as a Ukrainian, understanding that there have always been a better toolkit of sanctions, but somehow our friends decided not to use them and watch more of Ukrainian houses and lives destroyed. But right now, they are growing and the effect is becoming more and more visible. Most importantly, Russian gas and oil markets shrink tremendously. And this is the main article, if it's possible to say so, of the Russian income. They are not a country of innovation. They are not a country of technology and science. Forget about Soviet myths, don't repeat them. It's old-fashioned and outdated. If Soviet Union was so strong, it wouldn't have collapsed. Trust me, I'm Ukrainian. I was born at the end of the Soviet Union. I remember this tremendous queues to get a butter. And this is something what happens right now in Russia. It resembles 1991 very much. Russia cannot sell its oil. Even China and India don't want it. Russia has problems with gas transit, not only in Ukraine. Its once successful corporations like Gazprom and Lukoil are cancelled by Putin. They do not get enough income to pay into the Russian budget that is already empty because of 3-year blitzkrieg. And I'm being sarcastic here, it's not a mistake. Putin wanted 3-day blitzkrieg, but he got 3-week blitzkrieg, and it does not show any signs of ending. While the market of their natural resources, something they believed they will always be able to sell, is getting smaller, smaller, and smaller, same as Russian income. So the need is tremendous, and the profit they get is just pathetic. And this is great. This means that Russia is on the edge of the collapse. For the Soviet Union, it was the economy that destroyed it best. And right now, Putin has this choice, whether to continue his war, Russian war, or to stop and start negotiating. I don't know what he will try to choose, but personally, I want to finish this regime. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? What will he choose? Keep fighting. Soviet Union did that in Afghanistan. Putin is crazy enough to continue fighting and thus continue destroying, and no, not only Ukraine, also Russia. And Russia will collapse faster because we are an open country. We have friends. We are fighting for the truth. And we do have support. And Russia is isolated. Russia is rotten. And Russia is destroying itself from within. Whoa. So he may choose this path, or he may start faking the negotiations process because, of course, Russia does not want peace. They need war. Putin needs war to remain in power, but they may take a pause. I don't like this version, but I'm interested in your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. And remember, just as Russian army is not the second strongest army in the world, same Russian economy is not strong and stable. Just have a look at the price of the ruble. It's pathetic, but it is pathetic even in the context of all the efforts they've made to keep it on this level. So really, it is much worse. I'm sure you don't want to exchange your money into rubles. And that is the main fact. This is the main argument, Join me on X, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, and we have a good Discord community. Check the merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine, and even Saint Valentine's presents. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!